Look at the top of almost any chat on your phone, and you will see it. The glowing green padlock. It is the universal signal telling us our private conversations are safely sealed inside a digital tunnel. Mathematically, that promise is completely true. End-to-end encryption creates an unbreakable cryptographic shield. Hackers, governments, and even the tech platforms themselves cannot intercept or read the actual text you type. But tech corporations run the most data-hungry advertising networks in human history. We have to ask why they would build this unbreakable, expensive shield for billions of users and give it away for free. While we focus on the padlock, the tech industry has pivoted toward a layer of data that is easier to index at scale and far harder for a user to hide. This diagram of a traditional piece of mail shows exactly how the system works. Every message you send is split into two distinct parts: the letter inside and the routing information printed on the exterior data fields. End-to-end encryption only applies to the letter. It ensures the text inside is scrambled into an unbreakable secret code. But the outside of the envelope is fully exposed and permanently logged. This includes exactly who you sent the message to, the timestamp of when you hit send, your exact GPS location, and the precise duration of the conversation. In computer science, this exposed exterior routing information is called metadata. It is simply data about your data. Aggregating this routing information allows for a level of behavioral mapping that message content alone could never provide. Imagine you are an aggregative tracking algorithm. You cannot hear a single word of a phone call. You only receive sterile, blank data points. On a tracking dashboard, a profile is built. First, a timestamp arrives, 2 a.m. Next, GPS coordinates arrive, placing the phone on the edge of a city bridge. Finally, a timer logs a 45-minute connection to a public 1-800 number. You do not need to decrypt the audio to know this is a desperate call to a suicide prevention hotline. Consider another sequence. You see a 10-minute connection to a local oncologist's office, followed instantly by a 30-minute connection to a massive life insurance provider. Without decrypting a single word, these patterns provide the specific context needed to forecast health crises, personal secrets, and future actions. These tracking events do not happen in a vacuum. They occur billions of times a second across global networks, mapping behavior on an industrial scale. A single isolated piece of metadata tells you almost nothing, but stitch millions of those data points together over years of smartphone usage, and they construct a flawless, high-definition behavioral profile. The underlying engineering reality is that internet routing architecture strictly requires this information to remain visible. A network simply cannot deliver a data packet if the destination address is heavily encrypted. Tech platforms weaponized this unavoidable structural requirement. They built a frictionless business model around the metadata they have to collect anyway, turning our actual conversations into irrelevant background noise. So let's look back at that glowing green lock icon at the top of your screen. It is heavily marketed as a blanket guarantee of absolute digital safety. In reality, it is a highly limited, specific compromise. The platforms grant you a secure tunnel for your words, while retaining full access to the mechanics of your social life. We accepted a trade. We retain ownership of the syllables we type, but we have fully surrendered ownership of our behavior, our routines, and our relationships. Relying on encrypted messaging to keep your life hidden is identical to having a private, whispered conversation inside a completely transparent glass room. No one outside can hear what you are saying, but everyone can see exactly who you are talking to. True digital anonymity no longer exists. We traded actual privacy for a comforting graphical symbol, leaving our connections, our physical movements, and our daily habits intact.